So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you'll be devastated to know that I've been blocked on Twitter by Dave Rubin, which is honestly one of the most hilarious things that's happened in 2024. And this is the tweet that got me blocked. Now, if you may think, well, you called them a moron, no. I said we would be morons if we listened to Dave because Dave's initial post was saying that Trump must think that we're morons because what he was saying in the town hall for Fox News was different from what Dave believed. So Dave said, well, you must think you're stupid if you believe what Trump is saying. And I'm saying, no, we'd be morons if we listened to you. A uniparty Fox News DeSantis simp that is actively spreading propaganda against Trump, which is true. The DeSantis campaign online is the worst enemy of Ron DeSantis I've ever seen because Ron DeSantis himself is fine policy-wise. He doesn't have a personality. That's fine. He's solid on policy. But the people in his corner are the absolute fucking worst. They are a scourge. They are horrible. You have Jenna Ellis in your corner, and she's simpatico with Dave Rubin. Understand, these people are fake. They're not conservatives. They're not true Christians. They're opportunists. They're attention seekers. They're phony. This is important for you to understand. Stop letting grifters get away with grifting in the conservative movement. Now, thankfully, people are smart enough not to listen to Dave. Because if they were listening to Dave, Ron DeSantis would not be in third place behind Nikki Haley. So clearly, Dave has an overinflated sense of self. Yeah, he gets on Fox News. He gets his voice out there, way more than mine. But oddly enough, even though my channel is relatively small, more people agree with me than him, and in his comments he gets roasted and lambasted by people saying things far more harsh than I did. My point here was very basic. Trump will be the nominee. He's going on Fox News. He's spreading misinformation, propaganda-style misinformation. Dave Rubin is acting against Trump in the same way the media did in 2016. He is years, almost 7 years behind the times. But I want to tell you, the reason why I have such a disdain for Dave Rubin in particular is because he is a fraud. He's a phony. He is an opportunist. I want to show you something. 2 clips. Bear with me. I'm sorry for having to show you anything from Dave Rubin, but I think that you'll understand my point. Dave Rubin talks on atheism in this clip, and I think it is critical that you understand because I'm going to juxtapose it with his eventual opinion on atheism. He changes not because he's discovered some kind of, faith or belief, but because of the money. Because he was working with Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson, and he saw how well they were doing. He saw their business model, and he said, I can't be an atheist and also pander to conservatives. I have to try to frame my atheism in a way that's comfortable for them, and that's exactly what he tried to do. Now, he didn't really change anything. He used a lot more weasel words in the other clip, but I want you to just listen to what Dave Rubin actually believes about religion. And this is true of him. I think this is an honest reflection of what he actually believes. And then we'll play the other clip where he's stuttering over himself. He's not very coherent. He doesn't really answer the question because he is fake. He is not Christian. He is not conservative. He is not a libertarian. He is a uniparty stooge. He's controlled opposition. He's as phony as a wax statue. So bear with me. Let's listen to Dave Rubin for just a moment. If I feel that this is getting too long a bit, I may just cut it off and say point proven. But just listen to this and you make your own decision.
God, Jesus, Voldemort, Optimus Prime, Kylo Ren, Falcor, Donald Trump. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all characters humans created to tell stories and to answer big questions.
So already a couple things: the pomposity, the arrogance, the sheer hubris of a statement like that. On top of that, can we just talk about his makeup for a second? These do not look at the caked on. Look at, he's a different skin color. Look at this. Can we call this yellow face? Look at how much makeup this guy has caked on himself. Holy shit. He looks like a clown. That is a lot of, understand, you can see right here on the neck where they stop with the concealer or whatever the hell that is. Look at how much makeup this guy has. Oh, I don't want to show any of my blemishes. Look at that. Look at just how clear. Did he get a little? Did they get a little stuff on the collar there? Is that what that is? I didn't edit this picture.
Whether you believe the
Maybe it's just a shadow there, but look at it. As he raises his neck, you can even see it where it's almost like they took somebody else's head and put it on another body. Look at that. That is stark. That is a contrast. Holy shit, that's embarrassing. You'll never find that for Styx Hexenhammer. At least I'd hope not.
these characters are real or not is up to you.
So notice that Dave Rubin, he refers to Jesus as a character and basically lumps him in with Optimus Prime. It's one of the most disrespectful things that you can do, but that's what he genuinely believes, that Christianity is for dumb, unenlightened rubes like us who just can't grasp what his, liberal, enlightened sensibilities can allow him to ascertain from the world. But essentially, he goes on to make just absolutely pompous statements, talking about how religion isn't really that necessary. He goes on and just, if you want to watch the video yourself, it's 7 years old at this point. But this is Dave Rubin, an atheist, homosexual. Look at all that makeup, a fake, a fraud, a phony, disingenuous, corporate, not somebody that you would ever trust or believe in. The reason why I showed you that, and maybe I'll play a little bit more just so you get a full context, but actually I don't want to subject you to too much Dave Rubin. But listen to the so-called change. And this is important that you understand, because there are people like this in the conservative movement that are taking advantage, and they're all just as fake, just as desperate for your attention, just as desperate to be liked and validated and all that other stuff. This guy is an absolute joke.
Come to believe, and I talk about this in chapter 9 where I talk about being on tour with Jordan Peterson, and this is one of the things that he would hit often, is that for a society to flourish over time, it has to be built on ideas that are outside of it. And by the way, the United States of America, that's exactly how we were set up. Our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, they talk about God-given rights, while at the exact same time, they talk about a separation of church and state. Think how really brilliant that is. They say, we didn't give you these rights, the right to free speech, the right to bear arms, the right to peaceably assembly, and all these things. We didn't give them to you because if we gave them to you, well, we're people, and that means people gave them to you, and if people gave it to you, well, people could take it away. No, people didn't give it to you. God, meaning something else, and we can get into that. That's where the conversation starts getting bananas of how do we all define God. But something else made us free. I believe as a human being, you are born free. That is a God-given right. And then what the United States said is, we are going to protect your God-given rights. That is a beautiful system. If you believe that it all just came from you and humans gave you freedom, then the government, you're born and suddenly the government somehow gave you freedom, man, that is a prescription for tyranny. And to bring it back to the God-shaped hole thing and my evolution on this, I don't believe a society over time can organize around something that doesn't have a belief outside of itself. You're seeing it happen right now. The reason it feels like the secular world is collapsing is because the lefties and what I would say are for, the disaffected liberals, whatever you want to say, the people who just say, oh, whatever you want to do, you can do it all the time and whatever. Well, that will be destroyed by bad forces.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, the juxtaposition is night and day. Now, notice that in the beginning of this interview, and again, I don't want to play too much of Dave Rubin because I know he's a petty, insecure, weak, pathetic bitch. So, more than likely, he would copyright claim my use of any of his videos. Even though I'm a small channel, even though he's much larger and go on Fox News and whatever. The point is, I don't want to use many of his clips because I'm unsure of the fact that he wouldn't copyright claim it. So, the contrast is night and day. And the original video is on Dave Rubin's channel. This other video is on Pints with Aquinas. It's called Why an Atheist Society Can't Work, which is a direct counter to what he said before. Now, Dave Rubin's movement on this, you heard the Weezer words. You heard he was kind of unsure of himself, wasn't he, in the second clip? But in the first one, Jesus, Optimus Prime, stories that, dumb people tell themselves. I think this is important to understand that these people exist in politics, and you should be wary of them. You should be very wary of them. Now, in this particular video that I showed, the guy asking goes, "Are you Jewish?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." So now he's accepted Judaism. I don't know if that's thanks to Ben Shapiro or whatnot, but now he suddenly has rediscovered his faith. Some kind of faith. It's a complete deviation from his prior video, which said atheism is fine. You can have a society based on, enlightened principles. And I think all of it stems from the fact that Dave Rubin realized that he was needing to craft an image. He was needing to concoct a persona that allowed him to bamboozle conservatives more effectively. And if he was a combination of liberal, homosexual, and atheist, that wouldn't work. So he tried to reinvent himself. He says, well, I'm not atheist anymore. Now I'm undefined. I can't really define what I am, but I'm not atheist. And atheism would ruin society because God, or whatever you call God, I mean, God could be anything. It could be Optimus Prime. But that comes from, our rights are endowed by God. And again, God could be anything. It could be Optimus Prime. It could be a Transformer. It could be a Treyu. It could be, a horse trapped in mud. Who knows? It could be Chuck Norris. Because God's God. Anything can be God. And, you could be God. And, whatever. It's gibberish. It's nonsense. It's just fluff because he doesn't mean it. And then with the homosexuality, he said, well, I'm a homosexual, but I'm one of the good homosexuals. I want a picket fence and a dog at home and, my husband in an apron, coming home, cook me a nice hot meal. I want to come and just drop my suitcase or drop my bag and have a beer, maybe watch the game. And, the only difference between me and you is that I like to stick my dick in another man's ass. That is Dave Rubin. He is trying so hard to create this image. But every once in a while, the mask slips. And he reveals his leftist nature. Now, personally, this doesn't affect me. Because Dave Rubin doesn't affect me. I criticized him on occasion because he's absolutely wrong and he's obnoxious. But this shows that his dedication to free speech and all that, it's a joke. The guy can't take criticism. He very easily could have come back and hit me with something. Like, oh, look at this, another anonymous account calling me a DeSantis simp. Clearly I have all these followers because he could have clapped back, he could have hit back, but no, because we're dealing with a fake. We're dealing with a guy that can't handle any sort of scrutiny or criticism. He is disingenuous. He is a fraud. He's a phony. He is an establishment controlled opposition uniparty bullshit propagandist. That's who he is. So I thought this was pretty funny. I couldn't believe it, to be honest, because Dave Rubin's whole shtick is like free speech and I don't block people. I don't know if he's ever said I don't block people. I don't think he said that, but his whole thing is free speech and conversation, and we need to beat them in the arena of ideas. And then I say something like that in response to what he said, basically saying, well, Trump must think you're stupid if you don't agree with what I'm saying. I say, no, we'd have to be stupid to listen to you. And he didn't retort. He just rage quit. He blocked me. That's hilarious. Oh my God, I laughed for a good couple minutes because normally I don't care about bans and I don't care about the fact that he blocked me, but the fact that it's just so evident that he's fake. This is just such a clear indication that this guy doesn't have the ability or the intelligence to fight it out on any of the issues. Like, do you know how many people come to my comment section? In fact, on the video that I did about VTubers, I had so many blue-pilled parasocial people in my comments going, ew, religion. You mentioned Jesus and religion. Dude, I roasted those fuckers. I absolutely roasted them. I'm going to block them? I'm going to rage quit? What? Do I agree with what they said? Hell no. Did they disparage, religion and try to insult me and try to call me sexist? Of course they did, but who cares? Any person who's dedicated to free speech doesn't behave like Dave Rubin, because we know now more than ever that Dave Rubin is a total and complete fraud. The fact that he has an audience at all is shocking. But the optimistic news, to tie this all together in a nice, neat bow, nobody cares about what Dave Rubin says. He can go on Fox News for the next 20 years. He can go on Twitter and post everything that he wants. He can criticize Trump. Nobody listens to him. Nobody respects him. Nobody actually puts any value on what he said. Otherwise, DeSantis wouldn't be in third place behind Nikki Haley. DeSantis is getting creamed because DeSantis has decided to employ the most phony, brain-dead, ridiculous, toxic clowns on the internet. These absolute amateur losers. And they have done irreparable damage to his reputation and his campaign. Going after Trump was not a good move. But more than that, now DeSantis fans like Rubin are spreading the same type of misinformation and lies about Trump that the mainstream media was in 2016, and it didn't work then. It's not working now. Dave, you know that I'm right about everything I said. You're a fraud. You're a phony. You're a loser. You're pathetic. You block people because you can't handle the arena of ideas. You say it. You use the terminology. You know that will resonate, but there's just something about you. That's why you're not as popular as some of these other people. That's why you will never be somebody that anyone takes seriously. Because they know that you're full of shit. Even if they may agree with you in the moment, they know that you're a fraud. Because you started with the Young Turks, you are an atheist, you are a homosexual, and not I'm a good, picket fence homosexual. No, you're part of the LGBT community. You're an atheist. You're a leftist. You have not abandoned those things. You're just using different words to try to weasel people because you're not good enough to actually do it organically and authentically on your own. So that's why I wanted to talk about you, Dave. And this is the last I'll ever mention you. Because you get one video out of me. Me, a tiny channel, I don't even consider you of value enough to try to milk your name even for a modicum of attention or views or whatever else that you would do for the situation. No, one and done. Because Dave, you don't matter. Trump is the next nominee. We all know it to be true. Thanks for watching. See you next time.